Donald Trump held a presser right around the same time that a different event was going on. And I want to show you first this insane moment he had, and then we'll jump over to what was happening as that was going on. And it's Newsom striking back. And I have to be honest, I think Trump and Republicans are shocked that Democrats who don't have a great record of this are actually fighting back and are saying, all right, you're going to bend the rules. We're going to bend the rules. Let's play this game. Because normally that's not what Democrats do. And that's why they get pounded over and over again. And so I do think it's shocking to Trump. But first, let me play one of the clips from this presser, then we'll get to others, which is Trump being asked about Elizabeth Warren and somebody else. And he just doesn't even answer the question and just starts ranting about the most random things.
Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren continue to peddle the lie and the claim that you're trying to cut Social Security despite your repeated promises to protect it. Why do you think they keep pushing this misinformation and literally terrorizing the elderly in America that sadly keep watching the very misleading?
They have impeded Social Security Administration functions because of their pushing out of staff, and it has worsened conditions. But we also can't take Trump's word when he says, I'm not going to cut something. We just saw that with Medicaid. He said 100,000 times he wasn't going to cut Medicaid, and then he did, the most we've ever seen ever. So we don't have to take his word. That reporter, absurd way to frame the question. Why do these liberals keep lying? And now I just want to bookmark in your head. The question is, why do the libs lie that you're going to cut Social Security? So his question should be something about Social Security, maybe, right? Let's see.
I love your question. I should have called you almost first, but I love his questions also, always. But it's such a good question. It's so vicious what they do. Elizabeth Warren said she was an Indian. We call her Pocahontas. She's a liar. She lied her whole career. Based on the fact that she was an Indian, she was able to get into certain colleges, get certain jobs, get into certain universities to work there. She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City. And she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way.
So why are they lying about your stance on the Social Security Administration? Pocahontas is a fake Native American who's on drugs. That's the response.
Somebody can act that way and be normal. What she's done to our financial institutions, he destroys people. Do you know that you had a lot of great banks in the Midwest and banks that loaned to farmers and others, and they went out of business? She put them out of business. Stone cold mean. Banks that were open 150 years, family banks that supplied the farmers and manufacturers and others, and she put them out of business. She's a mean, horrible human being. Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I don't mind him so much. He's just a liberal guy, very liberal guy. He's a wacky guy. He's still sharp. I got to tell you, he's 86 or 87 or something. He's still sharp. You compare that to Joe Biden, it's, sort of what happened. So I don't mind.
Thank you, Donald. I appreciate that. But you also are terrible. Hey, wow. Bernie, you're not going to stand up for me? Wait, let's see if I can do this. What the hell are you doing, Bernie? You're not going to stand up for me? I'm sorry, Joe, but he said I was sharp, and I am sharper than you. If I could say back in the day, I had people like you, I'd take them back to school, I'd say, I'm going to give you
These are the kind
this.
of guys you like to smack in the ass.
That's a little bit threatening. All right. Not terrible. Not terrible. As we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free. Check if you're subscribed. Boom. And then if you want to support my family business, which is seeking to give you the solution that you so desperately need, you need it, which is giving yourself an energy boost that you deserve, help you be more productive, more energetic, obviously, fitness, whatever, without the trash that is in so many energy drinks, the artificial, disgusting stuff, and instead, active probiotics. No artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors. Drinkpep.com, delivered straight to your doorstep. Thank you.
Bernie Sanders, with him, you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy, he's a nasty guy, but he's somebody that I don't know if I call it a fastball, but he's able to throw the ball pretty well.
What is your stance on recent Democrat statement on Social Security? Fake Native American needs a drug test. Bernie has a fastball.
I do the weave.
Yeah. Didn't debunk the claim. He said something about I think he was referring, but he can't even think of the words, to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is a great institution that he's ripping apart because it holds powerful fraudsters accountable. But my goodness, that's concerning. Now, while that's going on, you have the shock of Trump's life for the title, which is that, hey, Democrats are actually fighting back. And Newsom held a rally announcing the direct ballot initiative that they're putting on the ballot this November for California to essentially vote on a map that will change their lines up to counter, by adding more Democratic seats in California congressionally, the Texas gerrymandering.
To recognize today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back.
Rawr. Yeah. I love that he's used Liberation Day. That's awesome. And then you have this.
I know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else? Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength.
That's what he does.
The most unpopular president in modern history. An economy that's collapsing all around him. You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up. Job creation is going down. He's trying to rewrite history.
Yeah. He talked about the ICE. He referenced ICE. So at this rally, they're holding a rally. And coincidentally, all of these ICE agents reportedly show up, and there's videos of them, like, to do ICE raids at the rally. Really? We're being that transparent. And just while we're on the subject of ICE, I didn't know where to put this in, but it's just Jon Favreau posted these stories when that's a good example, right? You show up to a rally to harass, from what we can tell from initial reports, people, to make people scared during an event that's challenging Trump. It seems really authoritarian to show up to your opponent's political rally with ICE. No, but we just got reports that they were undocumented. Okay. And to be so indiscriminate with it. We're just grabbing up. It's not going after dangerous people. It's just grabbing up people. Sarah Shaw, Jon Favreau tells us about. This is not at that event, but just another example of the stories we're getting out of the indiscriminate nature of these ICE raids. Has a legal visa. Her 6-year-old son has a legal visa. She was driving back home to Washington State after dropping off her 2 sons at the Vancouver airport. ICE threw her and her youngest son in an unmarked van and sent them to a detention center in Texas where they're still being held. A mom and her 6-year-old son with legal immigration statuses. It's just sickening. One other Newsom clip, then we'll get back to the Trump of it all.
And here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about.
This is exactly what he should be. It's actual action. There are words there, obviously. But action. And there is a very good chance that this ends up being a difference maker come November. I'm trying to see. Okay, let's move on now to more presser moments. This one about what Trump's doing in DC. He's been accusing anyone who releases numbers, like his BLS commissioner they got rid of about the jobs market, of fabricating numbers. Now he's moving that to crime numbers must be fabricated because they show crime was going down as he took over.
And you're liberal, and if you're liberal, you're going to have to change your Democrats. You're going to have to change your ways. So we will have crime under control very shortly in D.C., but they're record numbers. And sadly, what I guess the mayor did, but whoever it was, they asked the numbers to be fudged so that it would show less crime than the fact. The fact is, it's worse than it's ever been, and we will have it just like we did at the border, where with borders are totally in great shape right now, the best ever, record-setting shape. We'll have the crime situation solved in D.C. very.
So he's accusing them now of fudging the numbers on crime because it doesn't show the crisis that he believes justifies his actions. Then defenders of him are on TV saying all sorts of wacky things, like Mark Wayne Mullen.
Give me a
here,
joke.
Yeah. Saying that the mayor of DC is racist, and that he is racist. He. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, the left media and the leaders in the Washington, D.C., especially the and I will say this, the very racist mayor, and people may get eyebrows when I raise that, but he's the one that brings in race into the conversation, so he's the one that's pointing the fingers at it, and when you point one finger, you got three pointing back at you. But for him to say that and flat out lie to the American people, he knows exactly.
Okay, mayor of D.C., he is a racist. Let's see. Let's take a look at the mayor of D.C. Now,
give me a joke.
This is why we need pronouns. I don't want to assume. No, the mayor of DC is a woman. It's who are you talking about? Also, can we go back to he bungled, I think, 5 things in 5 seconds. Watch this.
The Washington, D.C., especially
especially is the word, okay.
Especially the and I will say this, the very racist mayor, and people may get eyebrows when I raise that.
People may get eyebrows when I raise that? That's not the phrase. They may get raised eyebrows. They may get eyebrows. I just pictured an older person who's lost their eyebrows watching TV, and Mark Wayne goes, the mayor's a racist, and it's like, bloop. So dumb. All right, so especially they may get eyebrows, and
but
then
he's the one that brings
he. All right, nothing was right about that, Mark. I don't even know if this directly relates, but just more of the insanity on Fox News. You have one guest literally calling Zohran Mamdani an animal. Just open dehumanization.
Curtis, as much as Scott does, Curtis is on my radio show 3 times a week. He'll be on tomorrow. But there's no reason to believe right now, as sad as it seems, this guy's not going to win. Curtis has a very difficult battle. The fact is, Republicans don't fare well in New York. Got to go back to Rudy Giuliani and Mike Bloomberg and Governor Pataki. That's a long time ago, Brian. And this guy's taking these boroughs by storm. I mean, it's not like he's just showing up. The enthusiasm for this guy is through the roof.
Now, before we get to the main part where he uses that term, I'm upset at his name's Sid. I'm upset at Sid for what he's about to say. I do appreciate that he's just going with this guy because we know, based on Fox News' track record, he would pronounce it incorrectly.
Zemdami.
Yeah, like that. So at least Sid's just going, I'm not even gonna botch it. This guy is the best he can do. Right.
I agree with Scott. It'll come down to Mamdani versus Sliwa, but a betting man would have to take Mamdani in that. Cuomo and Adams will eat each other alive. Mamdani versus Sliwa. My heart wants Sliwa. New York should want Sliwa. Right. But right now, there is no logical reason to believe this animal, he's an animal, is not going to win. Of Curtis.
He doubles down on it immediately. He's an animal. You don't have to agree with someone's politics to understand that dehumanizing language like that is completely and totally unnecessary. Unless you're talking about, in Don Jr.'s case, your fiance. He did call his fiance an animal. But that aside.
Fact check, true.
And And also, just as far as the whole animal allegation, put it back on screen. Wait, don't laugh yet. I haven't gotten to the joke. Sit here. It's just that it looks like he just went and played a pickup game of basketball in his suit. He looks a little dilapidated, no? So I just think if you're gonna accuse someone of being an animal, like make sure you're red, you're not sweating, like you're fresh looking.
A pickup game of basketball against some bees.
And some bees, yeah. He's looking a little allergic to something there. All right, so that's something. Back to the Trump presser. Whoa. Trump was asked about the sandwich thrower in D.C. who threw a sandwich at one of the law enforcement officers who's now deployed on the streets.
Thanks, guys. Cut it out right here. Thank you, press. Thanks, guys. Cut out right this way, right this way. Thanks, guys. Keep coming.
You see the video of the sandwich thrown at the officer?
Thanks, guys. Thank you, press.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, press. Go.
Kind of a hectic time to ask that question. What he's asking about is this person's labeling them as FBI, but just one of the law enforcement who's on the streets now after Trump's directive had an exchange with a guy, maybe drunk, I don't know, and he threw his Subway sandwich, maybe it was, at the officer. Let's see.
Motherfucker! It's fucking good! It's fucking good!
Yeah, so I've explained my opposition to Trump doing this. And do not throw sandwiches at law enforcement officers, okay? Do not throw sandwiches. I'm very clear on that. And if you do throw a sandwich in your loafers, don't run away, okay? In your boating shirt and your loafers, don't go try to run away from the police officers. However you feel about Trump, and y'all know how I feel, that's not the solution to having food fights with the officers. Now, everyone's talking about that, understandably, right? It's a viral clip. It's pretty comedic, even if it could have gotten more dangerous. No one's talking about what was in the sandwich, because I think that should impact, right? It should impact his prison sentence. It's like, was he one of those weirdos who goes up to, you go to a sandwich place, you walk up to the glass, and they order just the bread and the ham and the cheese, and you're like, you went to a sandwich place to make you a ham and cheese? You're not gonna get the Monster at Subway, or what do y'all like? The meatball sub. You're not gonna get anything that would be harder for you to make. You're gonna get ham and cheese, like a pervert. Really, like a pervert? So that should influence his prison sentence. But you might be asking, why even, Luke, are you so familiar with Subway? It's not the best subs. But did you see that guy? He looked drunk. A drunk middle of the night Monster, it was called. Sometimes they took it off the menu. Subway sandwich is life. It's why we live. Okay? Whatever they're doing to the Subway sandwiches, which I've heard some horror stories. That's why I try to be very nice. I don't want any of their love-making utilities to be touching my sandwich. And I have heard some of those horror stories. They're love-making tools. Janine Pirro posted a video setting the record straight about the sandwich terrorists.
So President Trump has vowed to make D.C. safe and beautiful again. And as part of his effort to fight crime, he's bringing in our federal law enforcement partners like FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, everybody to help the Metropolitan PD fight crime. And the president's message to the criminals was, if you spit, we hit. Well, we didn't quite do that the other night when an individual went up to one of the federal law enforcement officers and started jumping up and down, screaming at him, berating him, yelling at him. And then he took a Subway sandwich about this big and took it and threw it at the officer. He thought it was funny. Well, he doesn't think it's funny today because we charged him with a felony, assault on a police officer, and we're going to back the police to the hilt. So there, stick your Subway sandwich somewhere else.
So then podcast listener, she finishes that sentence and crosses her arms real proudly. So again, I'm all about law and order. But did she just suggest he uses a monster Subway sandwich as a sex toy? Is that what she just suggested? That's kind of a weird solution. And that's not the phrase. Stick the Subway sandwich where the sun don't shine. Maybe, because you're saying like, shut up. It's more of a general statement. But stick it up somewhere else is not the phrase, and it just sounds really specific. But no, I'm not going further. You get it. But felony assault. I just explained to you. I'm against the throwing of sandwiches. Felony assault. So let me just get straight. If you throw a sandwich, let's admit it, a soft sandwich, but it still was threatening in a sense. But a soft sandwich at a police officer, which is soft. Why would you advise him? Whatever. But on a police officer, then you get felony assault. Okay. But if you tase a police officer or smash an American flag on their head or punch a police officer, as long as it's to block the peaceful transfer of power, then you get a pardon. Is that the... Okay. I guess that's the priorities over there in Trumpsville. But again, no sandwich throwing, people. Then on Putin, Trump obviously meeting, I guess, tomorrow in Alaska with Putin. And he had this to say.
But the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. You know, I've solved 6 wars.
Yeah, definitely. So he's doing it again. He's going, I think Putin's serious about peace, when that's flies against every single action Putin's taking. So our fear that we laid out yesterday, that this is the Atlantic worded it, Putin laying a trap, is already manifesting. He had finally stopped saying stuff like that, which is, Putin, I do think Putin's serious about. Why does that matter? It's wishful thinking. No, it matters because Trump then informs his actions in pressure and support for Ukraine based on that. So as long as he believes, I think Putin is trying. He's trying his best, even though he keeps worsening the conflict. It delays the full extent of the pressure that Trump could be putting on Putin through economic measures and support to Ukraine. I don't even want to play this one. But again, like I showed you at the top of the segment, Trump gets asked a question and he just has these set of talking points. If he gets asked about Elizabeth Warren, he can't substantively answer. He just starts yelling about Pocahontas. If this comes up, if Ukraine comes up, if Putin comes up, he just goes, it never would have happened, it never would have happened, even when he's asked a very specific question.
Mr. President, thank you. Do you think this summit and the incentives for peace you are putting on the table could end up rewarding Putin for his invasion of Ukraine? And what kind of signal do you think that could potentially send to other aggressors?
No, I don't think it's a reward. I think that what we have is a situation that should never have started, It didn't start under me, and for 4 years it wasn't even discussed.
It did, and it was.
And I could see it was going to happen after I left. I could see what was happening. Everything that we did was wrong. Everything that was done was wrong. Everybody's to blame. Putin's to blame. They're all to blame. This is a war that would have never happened.
So that's not an answer to the question. Are you concerned that doing a summit on U.S. soil, legitimizing Putin's actions, instead of him being a pariah, before he's shown any steps towards peace, which he could do, Ukraine keeps doing it, he could do the same, and then that would make you go, oh, okay, now we can meet because I know you've stopped worsening your attacks, for example, as a sign that you're taking this seriously. Do you think that that is rewarding him? And Trump's response is, it never would have happened. kind of. Is that? And he said, did he say anything else? It never would happen, never would happen, never would happen. And it's everyone's fault, which is also not the case. And we've addressed the it's never going to happen in the context of how it built up to this through the Trump years and all of that. But some people keep telling me that they think Trump's going to do this to Putin at their meeting. And I don't exactly understand what they're referencing per se. Like he's going to play with the mic at the meeting. I don't know. He's going to try to speak into the mic. Podcast listeners, sorry, that one you're not going to get. It's purely visual.
The biggest load that we've seen.
There you go. And then you have little moments like this where Trump just stopped being able to speak.
What we're doing with crime, which will be your next question, I guess, that's because everyone's fast, they're afraid.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And then let me see. Is this a good place? Let's go ahead and just end it on this one. Trump makes the claim that he's good at judging people.
World right now, Brazil has been a horrible trading partner in terms of tariffs. As you know, they charge us tremendous tariffs, far, far more than we were charging them. We weren't charging anything, essentially. And Brazil has some very bad laws happening where they took a president and they put him in jail, or they're trying to jail him. And I happen to know the man, and I will tell you, I'm pretty good at people. I think he's an honest man. I think what they've done, this is really a political execution that they're trying to do.
So what is he talking about? First of all, he claims his insane, dramatic tariffs on Brazil are justified because of Brazil's tariffs. But we have a trade surplus with Brazil. It's one of the countries that doesn't fall into Trump's argument, even though his argument doesn't make sense. We have a trade surplus with them. So even by his weird methodology, that the tariffs doesn't make sense. But he's admitted he's tariffing Brazil to try to force them to stop prosecuting their former president Bolsonaro for attempting a coup, allegedly, and pulling a Trump. And so he's trying to strong arm them to help out his buddy, who engaged in insane behavior, and he's being legally held accountable for. And in the process of saying, I know Bolsonaro's not guilty, he says, he's a good judge of people. I know people, I am good with people telling. Right. I thought the whole argument was you were so bad at telling the quality of people that you accidentally stumbled into a 15-year best friendship with a sex trafficker. But now you want us to believe they can drop the case because I know he's not guilty because I just have a sense of people. When I look at people, I say, got him. Right? Yeah, I'm an empath. That would be his next statement. I'm an empath. And I can tell when someone's a good guy. And that's why I was best friends with Epstein. Doesn't exactly fit. I don't know.